Republicans have made a commitment to America to cut spending. How do you think they are doing? I'm Alan Barton. Stand by for a special Facebook edition of Front Page.
The markets, global investors, the American people are expecting us to deliver on our commitment that we're going to change the spending crisis in Washington.
Right. All right, joining me in PJTV studios, Tom Bowden from the Ayn Rand Center for Individual Rights and Investor Business Daily's Terry Jones. Gentlemen, we took that statement from the Majority Leader Eric Cantor to our Facebook friends. Once again, our fans have proved somewhat dubious. They are not buying into the DC or mainstream media spin. Most of the responses were from people who are actually upset with Republicans for not cutting enough. I think a lot of that came from that Boehner deal where they theoretically cut $38 billion. I think it came out to, I think they cut $3 in actual spending. Yeah. I think it was about $3, between $3 and $4 of actual spending was cut in the $38 billion deal. So Terry, I'll start with you. Do you think Beltway Republicans are aware of this anger that exists in their base?
I think they're vaguely aware of it. I mean, they get it when they get back into their districts, and they, certainly are getting phone calls and things. But I don't think they understand how, at the root, Americans are angry about the spending and the lack of control that they see, because they have to control their own spending impulses, and they see a Congress that just is incapable of doing it. And absent a thorough root and branch, cutting of programs, completely altering the trajectory of spending, I think people are going to continue to get angrier and angrier. And I think they're kidding. Washington politicians are kidding themselves if they think their badge of being a Republican is going to protect them. It's not. People, this is transcending party fealty. I think at this point, people are just angry.
All right, one of our Facebook fans, Lisa Yingling, writes, the biggest problem the Republicans in the Senate and the House have is that they never explain why they are doing things, which opens them up to these attacks. All right, Tom, what do you think of the overall situation here in terms of what the Republicans can do to better communicate this vision? And do you think they actually have the vision to communicate?
I don't think it's a communication issue. They're communicating just fine what they're doing. The problem is they're not doing anything, so they have nothing really to say. So if the Republicans were actually challenging the very existence and huge expanse of these entitlement programs, if they were actually talking about eliminating whole departments and whole species of regulation, if they were talking about these kind of radical things, do you think people would be really sitting around scratching their heads saying, gee, I don't know what the Republicans are doing, they need to communicate better? You communicate through your action, and if you're cutting spending, if you're really reforming the economy, there's no communication problem. It'll be loud and clear when that starts to happen.
And if you're probably cutting spending, it probably means you have principles based on cutting that spending, and maybe that's the thing that's really missing.
The why question is the Republicans have no answer because they're full of compromises and they don't really have a why. The real why is to protect your property. The property is yours, and we're going to stop taking it. That's the why, but they don't have that.
All right, gentlemen, that's all the time we have. Viewers, check out pjtv.com for all of the analysis you need of the week's headlines on Front Page, hosted by me, Alan Barton. And if you don't think your friends are getting the right media in their social media, make sure you tell them about PJTV. For Terry and Tom, I'm Alan Barton. Thanks for watching.